Neva.com.
Yep. That's what it comes. Look at that. Comes right up.
Holy doo-doo fire.
Oh, wow.
Man, look at Jason Fry. He's got Bambi on the wall back there.
It looks like a jackalope.
Yeah.
A jackalope.
Was that a deer or was that a kitten that you mounted with horns?
Both.
Yeah.
I put a deer horns on a cat. It's a new thing.
Yeah. Don't let me goof on you. I'm not. Don's not drinking cacao tonight.
No, I found something I've had since I was a kid in high school, man. I don't know if you've seen these old.
Train
I
whistle,
have one of those same things sitting somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I remember from a kid.
Yep.
Well, it's quite obvious that you're not drinking the cacao tonight.
Oh yeah, I am, man.
Check out the a picture I'm sending to the group now. That's my my little collection. See if I can add a new one.
There you go.
This year.
There you
Well,
go.
I gotta see this here. What's he got? What's he got?
He's got all the deer.
Oh yeah, all right.
Can you believe he did?
Nice.
Can you believe he did that to you, Jason Fry?
I can.
Oh man,
No,
that's cold.
That deer back there is one that my son killed. It's
I
actually
thought we were gonna say somebody ran over.
No, my son killed that one. It's better than it looks in this picture because it's way back there on the wall. But
So I have hanging in my, 2018 truck. I think in about 2019 when it was still fresh and new. Of course, in Abilene, Texas, deer just kind of like run all over the place, and they just decided instead of running in front and let me run them over, which would have been fine. He ran right into the side of the truck and scraped his horn down the entire side. I went back the next day, and I found the nice little tip of a horn that made that dent, and I drilled a hole in it. It is now hanging from my my mirror.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. You only need the tip.
VMAX Tone Loco. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. You look like Tone Loco with that beard.
He does. Huh?
Do you know what I'm talking about, man?
3, 2, 1, 0.
You're listening to the Knives Templars.
Get ready, y'all. We about to Bobby Boucher you. Bam!
I got a piece off of the wagon that Sam Houston used to take JFK to the moon.
Pinto sauce. I like that. Pinto sauce.
Pinto sauce. You're tuned in to the Knives Templars podcast, featuring Odisir Special Sauce Pinto.
I was a mean kid.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Eric T.R.E. Rivers.
Holy crap, I built something.
Don the Train Watson.
I can pay off all my credit cards and beef jerky credit line at Bucket.
Joey the Riot Terrier.
Cochon de lait will make you smack your lips. Is anyone getting too close to your plate?
Mark the Sallow.
You drinking my soupy?
And Chip Shegman Carlisle. And now broadcasting alive, it's the Knives Templars. Coming to you live from Porkhouse Studios located in Hartselle, Alabama and other U.S. locations. This is the Knives Templars podcast. We are the coolest knife-making podcast on the planet, and we are downloaded around this big blue marble in over 24 countries. We are on air, on demand, and heard worldwide in all of your favorite apps and at knivestemplars.com. That's the knivestemplars.com. Odisir, I think I need to add some more starter fluid to the opening sequence because it's just turning over and over and over and over, and it's not starting. So it's either the battery or the starter fluid. I don't know. What do you think, Odisir?
I don't know. You are the meister here. I just follow your lead.
I think Otis here would have failed that car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Right now, I need some axles, since I'm forging.
All I'm saying, yes. All I'm saying is that's our opening tonight. It is what it is. It is what it is. Welcome to the Knives Templars, folks. We have Don the Train Watson, Odisir Pinto, Jason Fry,
Howdy.
and Mark VMAX Tone Loco, bearded man Sasquatchy dude.
Hey,
How
It's
are you
quite an
doing tonight?
intro there.
Well, he's got this big long name drawn out tonight, so I just wanted to make sure I got everything in there.
Yeah.
Do they call
Oh
you
yeah.
Tone Loco? Do they call you Tone Loco at work these days?
All over America because of the Knives Templars podcast.
That's
That's
so cool.
that's yeah.
Well, have you
And
been
in 34 countries, I think they're calling me that too.
37 now? But
$37?
have you been to the knivestemplars.com?
I have.
Knivestemplars.com. Let me tell you, I haven't updated anything in 2 weeks. But it's still sitting out there. It's beautiful. It's waiting. But here's the exciting part. Oh, Carlitos Calaveros did some search engine optimization. Do you know Carlitos Calaveros?
Oh,
No.
nope.
Carlitos Calaveros. That was my name in Spanish class in 12th grade. Carlitos
Oh, all right.
Calaveros. We had to come up with a name. I was Carlitos Calaveros. Anyway, I did some search engine optimization. Who's beating the heck out of that dog in the background?
Yeah, I think my dogs have lost their mind.
I think somebody's got into Squishy. But anyway, Squishy the bird. Anyway, Carlitos Calaveros has been working on search engine optimization, and I must say, we are jumping up there. I don't know if we're number one podcast out there or not. It's so hard to tell. But by gosh, when you put in knife making podcast and this, that, and the other online, and we are popping up number one, can't be anything but good. So I
That's
encourage you
good.
guys, y'all keep going out there and visiting that site, all of our listeners, because number one, we are growing because of you, and number two is we certainly appreciate it. So it's good. Otis here.
Yes, sir.
What
Yes.
is going on, Otis here? What's going on with you?
You mean right now or overall?
Hey, free mic night. It's free mic night. You
Free
want to
mic
recite
night.
poetry? Yeah.
Um, all right, let me jump into it really quick. I mean, I'm super happy. I am happy. How does Phil Roberts says happy, right?
Uncle Si, yep. And
Yeah,
Phil.
I was able to get two forged uh blades this week, right?
Yeah.
Got a small hunter, 4.5 inch blade, and my very first ball peen tomahawk
Oh,
with a spike
perfect.
and a
I've
beard.
seen that.
Hold that up for the listeners to see.
Okay, I'll hold it up for the listeners to see right there.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Unfortunately, I
Nice,
broke the
Looks
handle as I was testing, but that is not my fault, right? I had some crappy wood in there.
You're going to find a nice piece of hickory to put in
But I'm
there.
gonna go to Home Depot and buy me some wood and make me a handle
I think you need to buy a piece
because
of
it
hickory.
came out
Osage
really nice,
orange.
better than I expected.
You better
You
head
just
to
stick a-
wood. You go ahead, Don. You know wood.
Osage orange would look good in that and be strong.
Yeah.
That or hickory, but
Yeah,
Osage
something
orange
that
would be
something that
different.
can take a pounding and put a pounding actually.
Yeah.
Because yesterday when I was testing it out, I threw it to stick it on a tree,
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as it hit,
Crack.
two pieces, right? Head this
Yeah.
way,
The
handle the
tree,
other way.
the tree split one way. The tree split the other.
Yes,
And
yes, that's what I meant.
Daniel Boone.
And then earlier in the week, I was working on that little canister that I started.
yeah.
I was talking to Mr. Fry. He was actually on the road giving me some tips. Unfortunately, it fell apart, right? So I still have a small piece that held together really nice.
Right.
I am probably gonna try to do some kind of a fitting or some little, whatever with that little piece that I still have it. Should be fine. Um, I don't know if I didn't hold enough in the heat. I mean, I was following Mr. Fry's advice there. I had it in the heat for, like 30 minutes before I start hammering. But I only did three hammering sessions in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I squished it, put it back in the fire, squished it again on four sides, went in back in the fire. I did that 3 times. And then, okay, feels solid. It feels really solid. It feels hard. So I took it out, let it cool down. Then I removed the can. The can came out really easy. It was easier than I expected.
Right.
and then I just let it sit. And then on Sunday, when I was starting to work on it, it started to crack. Right, a lot of cracks all over the place.
Mm.
So it wasn't a total loss, because I learned a couple of valuable lessons in there. For example, on the next time, I'm not gonna put a stem on the can, so I can hit it on six sides instead of four. Right, I
Hmm.
can hit four corners and both ends, and make it as tight as possible. I think that was my mistake. I didn't squeeze it enough,
Yeah.
right? Quote unquote. I mean, I'm doing it by hand, by hammer, right? So it's not like I have a press or anything. So when I say squeezing, I'm actually, pounding it by hammer on an anvil. So that's
I would say
more
that
difficult, I say.
the fact that you've had a piece of failed steel puts you ahead of all of us except Jason Fry. So congratulations on that because we haven't
Yeah,
even done that yet.
congratulations, man.
Well, I was telling Otis here. I mean, I've done some canister, but I've got a power hammer too, and I still lose 20% of them. To tackle canister by hand, man, that takes a man. Good job, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I saw
Thank you
one of
very
my
much.
my Forge and
And
Fire friends, Josh, and he was doing a um, presentation for our knife guild, and when he did, we were going to spend the next hour watching him build this knife, and it split on him, right out of the gate. So sometimes it just happens. But you're holding
yeah,
up. You took a licking and you kept on kicking. So you went and grabbed some spring steel, and it looks like you've put out a couple more beautiful knives this week.
yeah. So instead of just moping around and cussing and stuff, I mean, I did that for about an hour.
Well,
Yeah, of
that's
course.
You
expected.
have
You
to.
gotta, you gotta.
I did that for about an hour. So you know what? Let me try and salvage my day. So I grab a piece of coil spring,
Hmm.
about a little over half an inch, and I cut a 3-inch piece of it. And following some directions that I had, I started going at it and forged out this beautiful piece right here. Totally
And
forged out.
people can see that knife where.
It's gonna be on the Rivers Experience Facebook. I'm gonna post it on our group on Facebook also.
Yeah, great, great, great. And that
You
that
know,
leads me to, hey, we got to make sure that people know that you can go to the riversexperience.com and see what Eric Rivers has to offer, but also you can find Eric Rivers and his, I think he's up to 38,000 followers, and on the Rivers Experience on Facebook, excuse me, on YouTube, you can learn just basically how to make a knife like I did. Additionally, you can find him on Facebook at the Rivers Experience. They've got the Facebook group there. But what I want to say is Eric has actually started live broadcasts for question and answer sections. So
Mm-hmm.
be sure and check out Eric on the Rivers
mm,
Experience on
yep.
Facebook and the Rivers Experience Facebook group as well. Lots of guys offering lots of expert advice there. Otis here, we're on
Yes.
the journeyman watch, and we're wondering how much closer are you to applying for your journeyman?
All right. So I need to join ABS first. I mean, let me see if I can do that within the next visit I make it to the Bill Moran Museum coming up
Yeah.
next weekend. So I'll talk to
Okay.
them.
Guys,
Um,
shall we all double dog dare Otis here to apply to be on ABS, a member of ABS, so he can start his 2 year window? So here we go. We double dog dare you. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Can we get a
Third
third?
it. Third it.
Jason Fry, how do
I
you
guess
feel
that
about
makes
this?
me fourth, but I'm totally in favor.
All right. So if you do not apply to ABS, at least to start your journey, your sissy pants.
I take your challenge. Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. But I have something to say. I have a couple
Yeah.
of things to say. I have a couple of things in my chest. I want to put it out today.
Go ahead.
Okay. Um, and maybe Mr. Fry can back me up on this one. Like I said before, when it comes to forging, right? When it comes to forging, I want to forge knives from things that don't look like a knife already, such as a perfectly bar stock that you buy at Pop's Knife Supply or New Jersey Steel Baron, right? If I buy a piece of bar stock, I'm gonna do the minimum amount of forging needed to get the job done. But if I'm gonna say, oh, I forged this thing, right? Just like I did this last piece, it's gonna be from a round stock, coil spring, axle, round stock 5160 or something like that, right? Makes
Yeah.
more sense to me, right?
But what? But what about the guy that goes out and buys a stick of 8670 that's an eighth inch thick, and he's heating up that bar in his forge, and he's going and he's pounding it out, and he's shaping it into a knife, and he's beating out his bevels and this that, and the other? Would you give that guy a break?
Oh, give that guy a break. I just think that he's wasting his time a little, right? 8 inches already very thin.
Mm.
Yeah.
8 inches already very thin, right? So if you're gonna still pound a bevel in there, I mean, you can. I'm not going to tell you not to do because it's not my place to tell what anybody else should do. I'm
Right.
speaking for myself. I will not force those more than what I need to accomplish the job. I'm going to be forging a lot from here on. It's going to be axles and coil springs, things of that sort to make into a blade. Even this last piece I made yesterday, it took me about 2.5 hours to turn that ball peen into a little tomahawk, right?
Right.
It's already similar in shape, I give you that, but turning a ball peen into a tomahawk is no easy task, especially by hand.
Oh no, no,
Everything
no.
done by
And you need to post that so people can see it. But I must
say
say,
it, say it.
you're dealing with unknown microfractured steel.
It is what it is.
I know some people out there that would say, "Hey, we can't have any unknown microfractured
Well,
steel."
if you're gonna say that, right? Okay, buy some round stock, 1095 round, 5160. They sell it round, right? Make
Yeah.
put that effort into going in there.
Right.
If I'm gonna do a lot of forging from here on, and it takes, I must do say from a flat bar.
Yes,
Probably
sir.
gonna try to make some Damascus out of it.
I have a confession to make.
Make.
I have 8 full sets of leaf springs in the back of my truck right now that are just sitting there because I have nowhere else to put them at the house. So there they sit until I need them 12 years from now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Unknown microfracture steel. Go ahead, Jason.
I would say that kind of forging is a continuum. Um, and Odisera is at one end, and that's a good end to be at. There's another end too. I was actually ordering steel today, and I was looking at some quarter inch by one stock to make hunters out of. Because how thick is your hunter going to be? Not a quarter. I mean, maybe 3/16. You're going to work it down. But by starting with a dimension that's close to your ricasso size, you can do all the work of forging the tip and forging the bevels uh, in a way that's time efficient.
Right.
I mean, I've got some ball bearings, 2 inch ball bearing, or I'll take a piece of 2 inch square W2, and I mean, I'm not afraid to forge stuff out. But at some point, when it comes down to how do you want to spend your time, you know, I also again ordered some 3/8 by 1.5 stock. Well, that's not a Bowie knife, but it makes a good one without spending a lot of time reducing your stock from a ball bearing, right? Especially by hand. So to me, again, it's kind of on a continuum between I found this in the woods, let's forge something out of it, to I, I bought this 1/8 and I barely touched it. In between there is a whole lot of territory.
Yes.
And again, for me, making the shape what I want it is more important than reducing the stock down to something first.
My
That's just me, though.
gosh, this is starting to sound like the Jerry Springer show. Somebody put somebody between these two guys.
I mean, we're so disagreeable.
No, 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 no.
Disagreeable.
No.
And that's
I have no. The problem I have is this, right? I've seen some YouTubers, and
Right.
they will grab a long ass piece of, let's say, 80 CRV2, 2-inch wide by quarter-inch thick, and they stick that thing in the fire, and they sort of beat
Man.
into a knife-shaped object, and then they cut it off and stick it back in the on a surface grinder, resurface everything. Then you start doing the regular stock removal. I mean, what's the point? What did you do? I mean, what's the point?
You hit it 6 times and you messed up the metallurgy.
Okay, there you go. Right.
Yeah.
That's where I'm
Here-
going. That's what
But
I'm going
yeah,
with it. I mean,
yeah. Here's where I draw
it's
the
not like Jason said. Oh, I have this inch wide piece by a quarter, and I want to make a hunter out of it. Okay, it's fine. You pulling the bevels down, right? So it's
Mhm.
going to thin out that stock. Okay, fine. No issues there. But the issue
Yeah.
I
Again,
have
for
is this, right? You grab that 2-inch piece wide, and then you sort of beat into a knife, and then, oh, let me put it into the surface grinder and flatten everything, and then I scribe all my lines again, like I started. Oh, come on.
So here's the issue that I have with all that. I don't mind the guy that grabs the 3 foot long piece of 8670 or A1 or whatever that's whatever inch, whatever thick. I don't particularly like people that go out and buy flat steel and hit it a few times with a ball peen hammer to make it look like it's forged, because it doesn't look like it's forged at the end. Um, hey, to each his own, but it just looks like, you disrupted the steel, and you really didn't forge anything. That's that in between that kind of looks almost like the
and to,
Chinese husk.
Yes.
The
That's what I'm
Chinese
going. I
husk.
mean, I don't know if my lack of vocabulary is coming across the way I intend to in my head, right? I'm not trying to put anybody down who
Oh, we
does
don't take
it.
it that
I'm
way.
not saying that you shouldn't do. What I'm saying is, if you're gonna say, okay, I am forging, right? In my mind, forging, the way I see forging, you grab something that doesn't look like a knife, right? And then you make a knife out of it. You stretch it out from round or whatever, and you put the knife shape in there, and you put your tang in there, right? But if you grab something that already looks like a knife, and oh, I forged the knife, I mean, you can say it because you beat it a couple of times, but is it really?
So the last 10 minutes of this episode was brought to you by Husk Japanese forged knives. Go ahead.
Let
Go
me
ahead.
take a drink.
Go
Let
ahead.
me
No,
take
no,
a
no,
drink.
no. Here we go. Otis Sears, crapping nails and eating barbed wire and crapping nails. Talk to us about the Husk knives, Otis here.
Ooh, here we
Oh
go.
no, I yield my time to Mr. Tone Loco. He had his
No,
hand up.
I had a comment on that. I think you're still going, but it's a good conversation. So, I guess. Oh, something's happening here.
Yeah, whoever's getting that feedback there, sit still.
Uh, so, I guess my thought is, and again, if anybody's portraying something that they're doing as something else, I think that's the problem, right? But I would say that, um, anytime somebody is trying to continually improve whatever process they're working on, is a win for somebody, right? Because that's what you want. You want to continually grow in your craft, whatever that is, and some people can grow by big leaps and bounds and improve and jump right in, and some people can do that in little micro increments of an improvement. And so, I would say that. If somebody that has never hit a hammer to steel, that said that, hey, they want to try to hit it a couple times and see how it moves,
True.
and then they see that and they enjoy that, and then they slowly move on and progress. That, hey, maybe in 2 years or a year from now that they've slowly worked their way up, right? And so I think it's just important that each person, the goal should be is that each person continues to improve and develop in their craft. And some people are definitely much more naturally talented than others. So just taking that step, I think, is a big step for somebody. But I think where Otis here is talking about is that where somebody is doing that and maybe portraying it as something else, as saying that, yeah.
Yes.
So I look at that as, you're looking at that guy who takes his first kiss at 15 years old and it just leads to something else, right? Or that guy that experiments with that first little one toke over the line, sweet Jesus, and next thing he's full blown Jimi Hendrix, right? There's a path to getting there, is what you're saying.
No, I mean,
One
look.
toke over the line, sweet cheese. Oh, I'm sorry.
Look, I don't try to portray something that I didn't do, right?
Yeah.
Most of my knives up until recently were all stock removal. Okay, I focused on my finishes, I focused on my hand sanding, I focused on making sure that everything is straight, everything is fitted properly. But I reached a point where, okay, that is easy now. I don't have to work as hard for the finish and for the fit,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now I can focus on making something from something else. This last knife I made, for example, I started with about 3-inch piece of coil spring.
Mm-hmm.
And if I put this knife next to a 100% stock removal knife, you will not be able to tell which one is which. I
No,
guarantee you that
yeah.
100%, unless you put
Mhm.
it under a
That's right.
microscope or something, you will not tell, oh, this was stock removal and this one was forged.
So you're saying we can see the microfractures under the
Oh, yeah, you could,
microscope?
100%. 100%. That's why I said
I'm sorry.
you need
For
a microscope
our
now.
listeners don't know, I had a little breakdown one time when someone accused me of a microfracture, unknown steel user. So it still
But
hurts. It still hurts.
then we had him on the show, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
still hurts. I think he'd already been on the show, but it still
Oh.
hurts. It hurts. I'm sad. Otis
So,
here.
it's,
I
it's
just wanted
just
it.
that, right? All I wanted to do is put that out. I mean, I had that thing stuck in here for a minute, and, I don't mean to offend anybody. If I come across a bit coarse or rude, I apologize. It's just the
No
way
way.
I speak sometimes, okay? Especially when something that catches my attention the way this particular topic
I'm
does,
so
right?
excited. I'm so excited because all I wanted to know what you had to drink in tonight and what you had for dinner, and I got this. I got
Oh,
I got
I had
10 minutes. I got 10 minutes of dialogue out of you,
a strawberry buzzball. Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
strawberry.
dude. I must tell you, I will not. I don't drink those things anymore. That's like drinking Jolly Ranchers and rubbing alcohol.
It's a
Yeah.
good mixture. It's a good mixture.
Can I tell you? Just go get you a jar of Smoky Mountain Moonshine apple pie.
I have no
Or
access to those things here. No, this is Maryland.
no, they got those in the
Yeah.
store. They got those in the liquor
Yeah.
stores. Strawberry. You can get that at your local beverage mart. But matter of fact, strawberry buzz balls just upturned my stomach right now. What'd you have for dinner, though?
Oh, I had a red baron pizza.
Very
Oh, all right.
good. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, the whole pizza, by the way. I was really hungry.
What particular flavor did you get?
Oh, pepperoni.
Pepperoni. I'll tell you. Here's the thing for you. You know what naan bread is? NAAN.
Oh, I got the real thing in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I heard.
Exactly. Matter of fact, I have a little story about that. I was with some Indian friends one time, and we were in the restaurant visiting, and my friend Avtar, he was showing me how they throw the bread against the side of the oven on the inside, and it bakes. And as he's talking to me, I'm going, "What? What?" And he's talking to the guy who owns the restaurant, and they're both speaking to me in Indian, and they didn't realize it because they were speaking in their native language. And when they realized it, they started laughing. But it's a 18-year-old story there. But what's important is Avtar, not Avtar, Pinto, similar names. Pinto. What you need to know, Otis, here is go out and get you some naan bread from your local grocery store, Kroger, Publix, whatever you got up there in Maryland land. and get you some pizza sauce and just throw you some mozzarella and throw your pepperonis or tomatoes or anchovies or whatever it is you like on pizza. I tell you, it's good. It's really good. It's delicious. It's
Oh
delicious.
yeah.
There you go. That's all I have to say. So you're drinking.
It's like a tortilla pizza, right?
No, 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 not at all. Nan bread has the consistency when you eat it. It's like eating a regular pizza, but it's very good and it's easy to make. So,
Yeah, it's thick and soft, and if they make it right, it's really good.
yes, it's good. It's good,
All right.
Avtar. Avtar. I'm
Okay.
calling you Avtar now. Your new nickname is Avtar. Um,
Yeah. So
I'm glad.
that's all I had to say.
Yeah.
Well said, too. Well
I hope
said.
I hope there's some more in you because we've got like an hour and a half to go.
No, no, I kicked the ball back to your court, especially Mr. Fry. I'm interested to see what he had to say. I hope I didn't, like I said, don't want to come across rude or crude or maybe unknowledgeable, but this is how I feel about the topic, right? So
Sometimes you
I
just
am
have to
always
tell it.
open. I'm always open to learn something new. That's why I watch different channels. I've been
Yeah.
checking out Mr. Rivers Forging. That's one of the guys who really put this
Lit-
forging bug
Yeah,
on
he
me
lit a
right
fire
now.
in you. He lit a
Yep.
fire,
Well,
didn't he?
And
I will tell you that's what's wrong with the world today. People aren't allowed to have differing opinions, and if you've got the wrong opinion, you can get shut down or even canceled real quick. So, Otis here, tell it like it is, and enjoy your strawberry Jolly Rancher Buzzball. Yeah.
thank you very much.
Hey guys, if you wanted to get a wonderful forge, I have to tell you, you need to go out and see what Brian Houseworth's making over at housemade.us. He's got that Revolution 2x72 grinder, but he's also got that Apollo forge. And whether you want to buy the parts or whether you want to buy the plans, whether you want to print some of the parts off yourself using a 3D printer or whatever you want to do, you can't go wrong with an Apollo forge. So go out and visit him at housemade.us and look at the parts, plans, and kits that he's got to set you up as a great knife maker. And with that in mind, I have to say, I know that our listener, hopefully he's still listening, that doesn't like the ads. He's got to like this new format.
Oh, he's our biggest fan now.
I'm waiting for somebody to go on Apple or somewhere and post some reviews. Guys, we got 2 reviews out there, and one of them was mine. So please go. I was mad at the guy who said that I told stupid jokes. So anyway, guys, go out there and give us a review on Apple so we climb up even further in the charts. Kyle Daly will thank you. Hey, Otis. Hey, Otis here.
One last thing to say about this is I was talking to this guy, and he has a lot of different knives that he collects from, a lot of different makers. He got some high carbon, he got some Damascus, blades. And one of the things that he said, well, if you don't forge, if you don't forge, your blades are not as valuable as somebody who forged this particular piece, right?
Yeah, everybody's entitled to that
So I
opinion.
mean, coming from a person who actually buys a lot of knives, and I went to his house, and he's got this beautiful display, lots of knives in there, got some proper illumination, right? It looks absolutely beautiful. The set that he's got, it kind of I don't want to say it bothered me, but it kind of bothered me just a little bit because the product that he showed me as being forged by this professional smith, and when I compare to one of my simple stock removal, I I don't want to pat my own back. Mine looks better. Is it
Yes.
because it was easier for me to make, or I just put more attention to my fit and finish. Right. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's the last thing I'm gonna say about it.
I think we can build on that though before we get around the group to see what everybody's drinking and eating tonight. And that's okay. This is where open the mic night goes. Episode 40, by the way.
Oh,
Hey,
Hey,
excellent.
season 5 is next month, um, or next recording. I communicated with somebody the other day because I was trying to calibrate. Please don't anybody, if you're a master bladesmith or a journeyman or a guild member or anything else, don't take this as wrong because I'm really trying to calibrate as a maker. As a matter of fact, I was online with my friends today saying, "Hey, how do I grind a false edge into a curved knife, and how do I keep it from um, warping when I heat treat it with a big old hole in the middle of it?" So I'm not a great knife maker. I'm okay. My point is that I've seen a lot of knives put out by well-known people or this, that, and the other, and I'm looking at the grinds and the fit and the finish and this, that, and the other, and I'm wondering. It goes back to that last, 10 minutes of that you spent on your knife that a friend of mine told me one time. It's like I'm starting to see these things and wondering why aren't they going to that extent? Are you
Right?
that's what you're referring to, Otis here?
Yes, exactly
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. It took me a minute to master, quote unquote, because you're never a master. I will say, my hand sanding, my setting, my guard feet up, the
Hmm.
handle feet up, right? But I strive to make the best I can make with what I have.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's where I'm going. One of the things that somebody told me once when I started, oh, you have to get really good at your fit and finish. And then when I saw his collection, I said, man, what you talking about? Look at this.
Right.
Look at what you got right there. You paid money, good money, on those pieces because it has a name behind it.
Right. Well,
While I
I don't.
don't have a name, or I'm unknown, right?
Yeah.
But I with my novice eyes, I can see that my fit and finish is better than what you paid for. So
What? But
why?
your Avtar's homemade knives. Your new name's
Mm-hmm.
Avtar. No, no,
Yeah,
no. And
I'll change my nationality to Pakistani too. Maybe you'll earn me
it's
some money.
Indian. But I will tell
Indian.
you that I'm not insulting anybody by saying that. I was at
No,
Blade
no, I
Show
don't. I
and
don't. I
and
don't
I
want to
saw
insult anybody.
yeah
Like I said.
I was at Blade Show and I saw somebody had made a culinary knife, and there was a guy was a journeyman, and there was a big dip in his knife. Like somebody had cupped out on one side of the grind, and it was subtly, uh, however you say it, obvious. um, and I kind of question it then. But I guess what rather than be a judge of other characters, it's probably best to say that we're developing a trained eye to what we expect out of ourselves and what we expect out of our own knives. So that's probably a
yeah,
better way to look at it.
that's a great way to frame it because at the end of the day, you have to be satisfied with your product,
Thank you,
right?
Jason.
And I can say that as I've grown as a knife maker, what I'm capable of improves, I hope, right? So that what I thought was perfect
Mhm.
10 years ago
Yeah.
isn't perfect now,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
I mean, that perpetual climb towards, I don't know, self actualization. Sorry to go all psychology there, but
Yeah.
towards reaching the most that you're capable of. I mean, that's honestly, that's one of the things that drives me as a maker. I
Yes.
have yet to make a
Same
knife
me.
that I'm satisfied with.
Same
Um,
me. The thing for me is I'm always looking to make the best that I can. Right. I don't have. I hate that. Yeah, good enough. Right. I really. I can't.
Well, I will say we beat that one to death, but honestly, it comes down to what are your expectations for yourself, and you were
I mean.
only yeah.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
if that's where you are. If
Yeah.
that's where you are, right? If that's where you are, then that's where you are.
Yep.
right? But if I am expected to, oh, I'm a journeyman, I
Mm-hmm.
need to make journeyman level knives, right? What does it take for you to pass your journeyman's test, right? What does it take for you to pass your mastersmith test, right? So you tell me you're on that level, you have that JS or you have that MS on your knife.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at the knife, I'm expecting a JS or an MS level knife.
Well, as I mentioned to people today, I've started the Shagman Masters program, and we also have Journeyman.
How do I
Additionally,
sign
we
up
have
for that?
we have the Shagman Guild, and right now is a good time to get involved. You
Yes,
just
yes.
donate
Oh yeah.
5 knives for my collection. I mean inspection,
Seems
and
legit. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and Otis here, I can make you a master in 3 weeks for $200,
Excellent.
and you get a certificate. So
And 5
Excellent.
knives.
Excellent.
in 5 knives. Hey, props out to the guys who have achieved masters and
Yeah, no
journeyman
doubt.
or guild membership, because we're not diluting that. We're just talking about some of the things that we observe in the field, and I think that's obvious.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's good.
I'm not purposely saying names, right? I'm not naming names.
Yeah, we don't need
No,
But
no,
that.
like I
no.
said,
No, we don't
but
need
like
that.
I said, I will never name names. I had a couple of guys go and get their journeyman test done a few weeks ago.
Right?
They didn't pass. When I grabbed their knife, they showed me, "Oh, what do you think about my knife?" And I'm looking at it. I said, "Man, should I say something? Maybe had I said something, they would have passed." But they all failed, right? One knife I grabbed and I could see a slight leftward bend from the handle to the tip of the knife, as if the ricasso or the tang was warped, right?
Yeah. Well, what
So, I
that's
mean, maybe if I said something, that guy would have passed. But I decided to keep my mouth shut. I don't know why. I have this thing where I don't like to step on anybody's toes,
yeah.
and
But
it's
speaking of would have passed, let's talk about Oleg Bolshevik and
all
knife-wood.com.
right.
Yeah.
Because if you guys are looking for stabilized products out there that are some of the best pieces, every time I make a knife and put Oleg's stabilized wood products out there on them, I get the greatest reviews, the greatest thank yous, and this, that, and the other. So go out and visit knife-wood.com and see what Oleg's got to offer. If you're in the United States now, he's over in Russia, but I will tell you, he's got a guy that does his distribution here in the United States, and he'll hook you up very quick. I've never waited more than a few days to a week for my wood to arrive, and that's knife-wood.com. So, uh, Mark Otis here got into the buzz balls a little early tonight. So, what are you up to tonight, there, Loco?
Well, yeah, I guess I start. So I had some beef stroganoff for dinner. That was
Oh,
The
you know my
hamburger helper or the real stuff?
in between, like from scratch, but not from a box. But it was a little
from a
bit of
can.
ground beef in there. So
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Sounds
but
real good, bud.
yeah, so that was good, and really I am now, and I haven't cracked it open yet. I've been waiting because I've been listening intently to Otis here. But I'm having a brother Joseph's tonight. I still have a couple more of those, and
My
uh,
goodness.
yeah, the which is it's not an IPA. I'm starting to like a couple of these. I'm branching out, getting away from some IPAs lately, and
Well, I'm going to let you know I've got something else for you to find, and it kind of goes like this: "Hello out there, we on
Up
the
a
air.
cup
It's hockey night
again.
tonight, but we'll get there in a minute. But tell us
okay.
about you're enjoying that Brother Joseph's, and you had that last episode. So,
No, I had the Dragon's Milk last
Yeah.
oh, that's
episode.
right, that's right, that's
Oh,
right, that's right. So I see you're sporting a brand new Phil Robertson on your face. There, are you going to go full bearded? Because I will tell you, the beard grows about 6 inches a year. In 2 years, you can surpass my longest beard. Actually, I had probably closer to 28 inches or so, but that's looking good on you, Mark. I think you ought to go full beard.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
Yeah, no, no, it's
yeah,
not going to
Christmas
happen.
is coming up. We need a Santa for the
That's
club.
There
right.
you
That's
go.
right. The esposa does not approve.
Sometimes you got to put your foot down there, old Mark.
That's right. Well, I'll put my foot down, and then Squishy could be pecking over my dead body, I guess.
I was going to say
He can have a
putting my
beard, but
foot,
he has to sleep on the couch.
putting my foot down never worked for me in the house either. So
Yeah. No. I think it's got about 2 more weeks on it. I'm gonna give it a couple more weeks just so that I can get it back into combing shape, and once that happens, I'll start over.
shall I
my
send you
wife
some?
threatened to set my beard on fire while I was asleep if I let it grow too much. So,
Shall I send you some Honest Amish beard oil, or you're just going to let it go in a couple weeks? I'll be happy to send you.
I have I have I think it's Beard Balm. I think is what I use or something. So that's what I've been. I still have some of that for my last growth, and so it lasts longer than you think, I guess.
Shegman is Norwegian for beardman, and I'll be growing my beard back. I can feel it coming, and I went mustache, and somebody said, "You look like a porn star," so I had to take it off.
No, you don't.
I don't want to look like a porn star.
No, you don't.
And honestly, the mustache was not a good look on me. So here I'm starting to thinking about growing my beard back again. But I do Honest Amish, honestamish.com. They're not a sponsor, but I will tell you some of the finest beard oils out there. But you know what I always did? I mixed some beeswax and some coconut oil and some lanolin, melted it down together and put that in there, and that's sometimes the best. You can sit and make those kind of waxes and stuff for a few pennies versus paying $16 for a month's supply.
Yeah, you can condition your beard or your knives.
Yes, you can. Matter of fact, I took the very same stuff because I'd cut my beard off under duress and added some turpentine to it and turned it into a knife metal conditioner. So some people don't want to go with a turpentine, but the turpentine doesn't hurt anything. It's good stuff.
It evaporates.
I may have to try some axe wax on my beard and see how the knife wax works as beard.
That's right.
Beard
That's
balm.
right.
I don't know. We'll see.
I am
you have to go that
telling you,
way.
ass wax will do well on your beard.
That would be axe wax.
Not ass wax. Okay.
And not Aflac like the duck either.
Yeah. I have, I don't know if y'all know this or saw this, but everybody on here own a gun. Raise your hand. And everybody raised their hands except Otis here, who we know he's got guns because he kills deer.
Crossbow and muzzle loader doesn't count.
Nah, it counts. So there was this. What was that product? What was that product called at Walmart? Y'all look it up. They put it in the gun department. Walmart. I'm looking it up here, guys. Walmart gun oil, and it was called.
It's made by. Oh man.
No. Here it is. It's called. It's opening up on my app here. Hold on. It's called gun oil, H2O water-based lubricant.
Never heard of it.
Oh, Frog Lube?
Never heard of it.
Talk about Frog Lube.
Who would use a water-based lubricant on your guns?
Yeah, not me. Sorry.
They took some alternative lifestyle gun lube that's water-based and stuck it in the gun department for people to use. And that was just funny. I thought it was funny. So if you go to Walmart and you're looking for some gun oil, make sure it's not water-based. It's in the wrong section. For us guys.
Different kind of gun, huh?
Different kind of gun. Mark, I'm loving the beard. It looks good on you, man.
All right.
You got to stick with it. Yeah, it fits you. It fits you. And
maybe I'll try to make one more podcast worth, so you can see 2 more weeks.
Please do. I think you got a good beard. You're going to have to hold out, and hopefully I'll get mine started here around Christmas or so. Jason Fry, hopefully you didn't eat any depressing pizza and tea tonight.
No. I had some fairly, again, unremarkable chicken nuggets. I'm drinking Dr. Pepper with a little Crown.
There you go.
I like it.
All right.
You are looking a little bit mellow tonight,
I must ask, where did that bottle of Crown come from?
Some hairy knife maker with a beard or something gave it
Well,
to
he
me.
used to have a beard, but I will tell you that Jason Fry was the nicest man in the world. He let me stay basically, he let me stay in the same hotel with him. I had my own room, and I paid him with a bottle of not Maker's Mark, with Crown Royal.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy to hear you drinking that.
Yeah.
And,
And
and
that
not that
was
you have
in,
to.
also, that was in July, and I still have it. So there, that tells you how much, how much I usually drink.
No. It's
Anyway,
not how much you drink, and it's not that you have to drink it all. But if you enjoy a libation, then certainly. I'm
right.
just glad to hear you crack
Well,
pop the top on that.
yeah.
I
Well, like a psychologist, I mean, I know it inhibits your judgment a little bit, and I wanted to free flow a little tonight, right? Not
Yeah.
be so reserved. So I'm using it strategically.
well, well, before I let loose, how was the? Where did the chicken nuggets come from?
A place called Brahms. I think it's a regional chain. Mostly
Oh
sells
yeah.
ice cream.
Yep.
Yeah,
Brahms.
we
I know
have.
Brahms.
Yeah.
Good ice
Yep.
cream.
I do
Yep.
not know this.
Better
I do
ice
not
cream
know
than
this.
chicken nuggets.
That's I
But
would.
But it's like a
I,
mile from my house, so
Yeah, well,
convenience food.
I'm a big chicken guy. I believe in the world should eat lots and lots and
Mm-hmm,
lots of
mm-hmm.
chicken. I'm a big Chick-fil-A fan. And what is the other one that's out there down around Louisiana? They started in Louisiana.
Popeyes.
No, not
Popeye.
Popeyes.
Like
No, it's
Slim
another one.
Chickens or Raising Canes or
Raising Canes. I love
yeah,
Raising
yeah.
Canes. I
Oh,
like their sauce. Raising
I
Canes.
love me some Popeyes.
Do you?
Oh yeah, it's
They,
spicy.
they say that Chick-fil-A is God's chicken and Popeyes is the devil's chicken. So
Mm.
with regard to the chicken sandwiches, but they're both good. Jason, what's been going on at the house of Fry?
Oh, just kind of a maintenance mode. So today I worked on the lights in my shop. I had a couple of bulbs go out, and they quit making the T8s and only sell LED replacements now. So I had
Yeah,
to
that's
go
crazy, isn't it?
rewire a fixture so that I could have light. Also, last time I was on, I was getting ready to do a demonstration at a knife store,
Yeah.
but that was 2 weeks ago, and I got another one tomorrow. So
Oh, good.
I
Go,
do
man.
I do
Is the
2 in a year or 3 in a year, and they're both on this podcast. But
is the
that's
weather
okay.
is the weather better tomorrow?
So it's only supposed to be like 93, which is practically winter compared to what we've had. So just gonna
Well,
roll with it.
our
Drink a lot of
humidity,
water.
yeah, our humidity has dropped off tremendously, and it's
Ours
still
has
just
too.
as hot, but the humidity is gone, and it's just like it's very comfortable out there. So hopefully you've got less humidity. I enjoyed seeing the things you were beating on, and your son got involved as well.
Yeah. I bring one of the things I do at demos a lot is I'll get some of those duplex nails, like for framing concrete stuff that have 2 heads. And in about 2 heats, you can flatten one of those out, and it makes a little sword-looking thing that's about
Oh,
5 inches long. So,
cool.
um, yeah, I let the kids forge swords at my demos, and yeah, I had my own 6-year-olds out there.
Well, did you get them
For
a?
those safety managers out there, I
Yeah.
hold the steel. I let them use a hammer. It's okay.
I don't care outside of work. Do what you want. I'm
Right,
not
right.
gonna write a report. But I will
Well,
tell you this:
I've got good insurance. My kid can burn himself once in a while, and it's not a too big a deal, right?
it builds character. It
That's
builds.
how we
It
learn.
builds.
That's
It
how we
builds
learn.
character and identification points in case you ever get in trouble with the law in the future. They'll know who you are. So, do your kids get a "My Dad Was on Fortune Fire" T-shirt?
You know, my twins were actually all in the show. They
Oh,
were
wow!
they were they were in diapers, pushing a little dump truck and swinging on the swings. So I guess they could get a "I was on Fortune Fire" T-shirt.
That's right. That's right.
You
But
haven't made them.
honestly,
Oh,
You
man.
haven't
I
made them a
haven't
shirt.
I haven't made them shirts. So it's kind of funny. My wife and I were talking about this the other day. Um, I was on the show 5 years ago. This week, actually, it was Labor Day week
Yeah.
of 2018. And so, I mean, how much have most of us changed in 5 years, right? Most of
Yeah.
our lives have
A
moved
lot.
quite a bit in 5 years.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so in my mind, like that was forever ago. Like who even cares, right? It was a long time ago. But the reality is also true that not a ton of people have done that. And it's still kind of a big deal. And so, like I balance in my head that idea of of I did a thing, and that thing was forever ago, and you kind of those of us that try not to be cocky in our lifestyle, right? Some of those things that happened a long time ago, you try not to just bring up. Like nobody wants to be the guy that talks about being the star running back in high school when they're 47 or whatever, right? There's some statute of limitations on awesomeness, maybe.
Right.
But yeah, Fortune Fire is one of those interesting things. So,
well, I'm just glad you weren't on Joe Rogan's experience and had to eat the cooked donkey and well wieners, So,
yeah, Fortune Fire is definitely better than that.
Pig's nuts.
Definitely better.
What was that? What was that show called?
Fear Factor.
Fear Factor.
Was that Fear Factor?
Yeah.
Fear
Some
Factor.
pig's nuts.
Well, I'm from North Carolina. We'll eat the criadillas. We'll eat the criadillas, but we will not eat the inseminator. I'm not eating the inseminator of any animal, cooked or not.
There's enough stuff in the world to eat that I don't feel obligated to eat some of that.
I would eat slugs impregnated with brain-eating amoebas before I would eat the donkey member.
There you go.
So thank goodness for Fortune Fire that you didn't have to find your fame on another show.
All you do is put some hot sauce on it, and you're good to go.
There you go.
Otis here. What happens in Brazil stays in Brazil.
Nice one.
Don Choo Choo Whistle.
What's
up,
on,
brother?
Buddy? Oh,
What have you been? What have you been doing? What have you been doing?
Well, I've been like Jason, man, just doing some cleanup around the house. We had that storm come through, but thank
How'd
God
y'all
it
fare?
did. Real good, man. I didn't even know there was a storm, to be honest with you.
Good. Good.
But people about 50 miles from me, they got flooded. So
yeah, up north, up in the armpit, or the panhandle, I guess, up where it bends around and heads more horizontal. They really got quite a bit of damage up there.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Shout out to MC Bladesmith. His was right on the path of that storm. He's your neighbor, by the way, Mr. Don.
Yep.
Yeah, he did all right.
He posted some pictures there, some flooded areas and stuff.
Yep.
I think he had some damage. So hope everything is all right with him.
Yeah, me too. I hadn't seen him or talked to him yet, but it was tough, man. I mean, it can be, if it had came in where we're at, man. I mean, it's just like anything else. If it comes in just right, man, it'll bring devastation to you. Plus the water, you're talking about 15 feet water surge over on the coast, man. That flood most houses all the way into Port Richey, Newport Richey, Tarpon Springs. I mean,
yeah, that surge is the worst part of it.
Yeah.
That surge is the worst part of it at times. And
Is
speaking
there
of surges,
is there anything like some sort of a construction you put around there that would help?
Didn't work for New Orleans. Didn't work for New Orleans.
Some sort of
they do sandbags. I mean, they do sandbags over there, but for us where we're at, we never had no problem with that. But see, you got to understand the West Coast from probably I say Gainesville down. It's all low land. It's all marsh. Tampa Bay's marshland. It's all marsh all the way to Fort Myers, Naples, all the way through Miami. It's all marshland.
What is the highest point in Florida?
Man, I'm thinking probably down the road from my house. That's a high point there, and there's another one over there in. I ain't never been over it, but it's a high point, like in the mountains. It's right over in Tavares.
The mountains.
You have
Florida.
mountains in Florida?
Seriously, Tavares, man. I have been.
I've got to look this up. Florida mountains.
So I looked it up. It's 345 feet. It's a place called Britton Hill. It's the lowest high point in the United States.
That's not a mountain, man. Come on.
No, it's a hill. It even calls itself a hill.
Yeah,
345 feet.
Where does it say what county it is? Does it say what county? Because I have one down. I don't know how that one is where I'm at. I go by it every day. So
now there are the Florida Mountains Wilderness Area that is a 12-mile long mountain range in New Mexico.
Oh.
But they are called the Florida Mountains.
Okay.
It's down at Lakewood, Don.
Lakewood?
Lakewood, yeah.
Oh. Lake Wells or Lakewood?
Lakewood.
You may not have mountains, but you do have manatees.
There you go. Sure
All
do.
right.
and Miami Vice.
There you go. Don Johnson.
There you go. Well, guys,
CSI Miami too.
tell us about that knife you've been making. You showed us at the beginning.
Yeah,
It's a
this
sweet
is
one.
this is one I drew up about a year ago. It's like a nest muck, I guess, my rendition of it.
Okay.
And
I can see. Yeah.
it and I wanted to make one.
And people can see this knife at Don Watson Knives.
Don Watson Knives on Instagram. I haven't put it up yet, but it'll be on there soon. So
Better hurry up before Monday morning.
hey,
People will be looking. So I see that it's a nice Nesmuk looking design, and you've stone and acid
yes.
etched
Well,
that.
this is made out of 440C stainless. I wanted to do one
Oh, wow.
stainless, and
How'd you get that color? What did you use? Gator piss or?
no, Ferrochloric
Oh,
acid.
okay.
I soaked it.
Wow.
5 minutes, pull it out. 5 minutes, pull it out. 5 minutes, pull it out, and then
And
tumble
what kind of acid did you say?
ferrochloric acid.
Oh, ferric chloride.
Yeah,
Okay.
ferric
Yeah.
chloride, yeah.
I didn't realize it would have that impact on stainless like it does.
Yeah, and then I tell you what, guys, if y'all ain't got that, I mean, I don't know if y'all do this or not, but the best money spent was their vibration system at Harbor Freight, the big one.
I saw that. Yeah.
With
Yeah, I saw your video.
with
You
that,
like
man,
that
I'm
big
telling
vibrator, huh?
you, I love a big vibrator like that, man. It just does a good job.
Jeff Fader from Knife Talk had posted something on Instagram about him purchasing one and talked about it on the show. And so I was over there and looked at him today, and he kind of joked a little bit about Harbor Freight as we all do, but he said it was a really good system to get the large vibrator they've got with the media, and said he was extremely happy with how it did on his knives.
Yeah, it
Did
comes
you
with.
vibrate the knife with the scales on it or pre-scale?
No, there was no scale. No scale. I have
Okay.
done them with scales though. I have because I forgot about it. And oh crap! And I went.
What's the what's the end result when you do it with the scales on there?
It just beats it up a little bit. I mean, it's just kind of roughs it up, and it'll rough it up a little bit.
But
Speaking
no real damage, right?
No, it just scratches. Okay. I mean, I'm using. If you get that, the media they have. I bought, I think 5, 10, 15 pounds. Joey T sent me some from Louisiana. Some, I guess you would say, ceramic stones. And that ceramic, I don't know what it does, because what I do, I coat the blade with mineral oil first, and then I just throw it in there, and then stainless.
I throw WD-40, and I use aquarium gravel and the ceramic stones from Harbor Freight, and it does a great job.
Yep.
Yeah, Otis, you got to get into that. It'd be a great look on some of your knives. By the way, speaking of Jeff Fader, how many of you guys are friends with Jeff Fader on Facebook?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I don't feel bad then. He just doesn't accept my friend request. I like Jeff Fader. I think he makes beautiful knives. I thought maybe it was something I said. I'm not saying he's going to listen to this podcast, but Jeff, send me a friend request. I made fishing lures. You make fishing lures. I make knives. You make knives. I like to cook. You like to cook. I'm never going to be as good as you. So accept my offer of friendship. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, hit him up. Make it happen.
Yeah. We all got to be friends. And if not, it's okay too. I still like what you do. Guys, look at this. I've been waving it around. Watch this thing spin around.
Oh man, be careful there, buddy.
Yeah.
I
had a copy of that company we were talking about earlier today.
Shut up, Otis here. No, it's pure coincidental. I asked a guy, let me just put it off this way. For everybody that's listening, every knife I have made in 2023 has been free. I have not charged anybody for one knife, even the big Katuna. Really? And I shouldn't say I haven't received, because you reap what you sow.
Sure.
My buddy that received the Katuna sent me $400 just shipping costs for a freezer's worth of tuna that I received, and the tuna itself.
That's even better.
By the way, I saw that knife being used by your friend.
Yeah, you hear it.
He had a little video there. Yeah.
You hear it popping through those ribs?
Oh yeah,
amazing work in there. Congratulations, my friend.
Well, thank you very much for that. And what I would say is that I've grown as a knife maker because everybody I've made a knife for, I said, "What would you like? Send me a picture of what you would like." And while I didn't copy what they were doing or what they showed me, I did something similar. So the knife I'm showing you here now, and people that go to my Facebook page or Knives Templars or whatever will see it. It's a Skinner with a, what do you call this? A clip point. A clip point, is
Yep,
that a
that's a
clip
Yeah, like
point?
a curved clip.
With
Yeah.
Hold it up
Yep,
again. Can you hold it
yep,
up?
with a big old
Yeah.
inch and an eighth hole in the middle of it to be able to put your finger in. And it ended up being my total design because the knife that he showed me, he didn't like. So what have I reaped out of this year of making free knives so far? And I'm going to make free knives for the end of the year. And anybody that calls me for a free knife, I don't know, for $200, I'll consider it. Um, but just make a $200 non-refundable deposit for consideration. But people that mean the world to me, I've made free knives for this year, and in asking them what they want has forced me to make knives I'm totally uncomfortable with. As a matter of fact, I was petitioning you guys today for some advice on making this one. And as Otis here says, he finds solace in sanding. Otis here, you're an idiot.
Oh gosh.
There is
Thank you very much.
there
I
is
take
no
it.
solace in sanding. If it wasn't for the sanding juice, which is Smoky Mountain apple pie moonshine and Labatt's Blue Michigan, well, this is Canadian, but Michigan Hockeytown beer, I would have not gotten through side one of this knife. But what
You
happened
need
is
better. You need better sanding music, Chip. What do you
Yeah.
listen to while you
Yeah,
sand?
I
Need
was
some
listening
Tone
to
Loc.
I was
Need some
listening
Tone.
to I was listening to Devo today, working in a coal mine. Anyway, but I was listening to Devo. But what I will say is that the gentleman, I asked him, I said, "Do you want a stonewash finished with acid?" And he said, "No, I would like a matte finish." And I went, "Crap! That means you really have to sand because everybody knows you can go to like 30 grit and acid etch it, and it'll come out fine."
Yeah.
But seriously, you
Bee
you
blast
can
it.
you can go out to 220 grit, 330 if you want, but 220 grit and stone wash it, it's gonna look fine. When he said that, I knew I was going to have to work it on up. So I worked it on up to 600, then backed it back down to 400, and I love the finish. I may get into making some more knives that are just hand sanded out without that particular finish. More importantly, more importantly, I've enjoyed a little bit of Smoky Mountain apple pie moonshine. I
Oh.
bought the Smoky Mountain unflavored brand, and guys, it's kind of like drinking
Drano.
gator piss, the etchant, uh, and there's nothing that makes it taste good. It has almost a little bit of a tequila taste, but it's like bad tequila taste. But the apple pie actually wasn't too bad. But that's just a little sip here or there, just because it's good. But I am drinking Labatt's Blue, and why that's so important is that I am friends with one of the great Red Wings players, Joe Kosar. I haven't spoke to him in several years, so I shouldn't act like we're just friends. I mean, we were friends for a while, close when I lived up there. But he was part of the grind line and also the Bruise Brothers that he and Bob Probert used to beat the crap out of everybody up in Chicago. And at the Joe Louis Arena, which they don't play there anymore, Labatt's was plastered all over everything. So in Decatur, Alabama this week, I happened to see a couple cases of Labatt's. I don't know where they came from. Somebody, just a little star came down and placed them there for me, and I was like, so I put my Virginia Slims and my Bartles and James mixers down and grabbed the Labatt's and ran out of there with them.
Okay. There you go.
Did y'all ever drink Virginia Slims and drink Bartles and James?
Oh no
I had
no no.
I had a girlfriend in high school that or we got out of high school. She drank Bartles and James wine coolers and Virginia Slims. You guys are too young to remember that, I guess.
A little before my time, but not
Yeah,
much.
it was the White Claw before the White Claw appeared 40 years later. So
There you go.
speaking of that, I paid my $40 for my 40th high school reunion
Oh
today.
man.
Oh,
Whoa.
all right.
Yeah, I'm going back and looking forward to. Here's how I see high school reunions. It's one night every 10 years that everybody that was popular in high school gets to be popular again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the rest of us. I had a Smokey and the Bandit black Trans Am, so I had a little Creed, a little mojo going on in high school. I never had a hard time getting a date as ugly as I was. I had a Trans Am. But I will tell you, I'm going to drive to this thing in a 2005 Chevy Silverado, and I'm the knife man.
There you
And
go.
I'm not going to put on any ears. I'm actually thinking about wearing overalls and one of my little Grizz hats to the
That's
thing.
right.
And,
They
just,
look good.
There you go.
and then watch everybody else all dressed up in this, that, and the other. And I'm going to go looking like a real knife maker and just let them talk about me. But you guys already know that about me. That's kind of my style. I like to make people uncomfortable.
That's
It's a
right.
cool thing.
You're good at it, though. You're good at it.
Yep.
Well, it's a unfortunate trait, but I will tell you. Have you seen old Jimmy Fallon's getting the kick out on the Tonight Show? Everybody's coming out saying what a bad guy he is.
Really?
No,
Ain't
I
heard
hadn't
nothing
seen
about
that.
that.
Watch the news, man. He's getting the Ellen DeGeneres treatment. Talking about people being just trying to be funny. I read today that the crew, like 10 or 11, 12 people, have come out and said he's just like this evil boss that berates and beats everybody up. But Jerry Seinfeld said he was fine, so everything will be okay. But anyway, don't become an Ellen DeGeneres. Always be a positive influence on people's lives while you're still making them uncomfortable. With that being said, have you guys in the market for a forge?
Maybe soon. I'm looking to a little single burner.
Yeah,
I'm
well, if
sure
you're
somebody was.
one of the brands out there that we certainly love on this show is Majestic Forge, and you can find them at majesticforge.com. You can get 2 or 3 burner forge, and I will tell you, they will do everything. As a matter of fact, did you know that the great Bob Dylan is a Majestic Forge user?
No.
Tangled Up in Blue, all those great songs. What else did he sing? I'm gonna put my guns in the ground.
Yeah, it was.
Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Yeah, Knocking on Heaven's Door was
Yeah.
Dylan.
Yeah, he's got a million songs. I've just drawn a blank here, and I've got all his stuff on my phone. But anyway, Dylan's a user, but Majestic Forge is the forge used on Forged in Fire, has been up to this point that I know of. It is an excellent forge. It treats me very well. So go out and visit our friends at majesticforge.com. If you're looking for a forge, if you're looking for preventive maintenance parts or this, that, and the other, those folks will hit you up, and they make a good forge. It's done right for me, and I appreciate it. So go out and visit them. As a matter of fact, guys, I followed some of y'all's advice. I went out and bought myself a 3-inch square tube and put it in that forge, and now I'm able to control my heat much, much better inside, and my hardening, as well as the appearance of my steel after I harden it, is so much better. I don't, I think you overheat spots and this, that, and the other when you're
that's a great tip, Chip.
Yep.
When I was on the show, they had the Majestic 3-burner forges, and they had all 3 burners just wide open. Yeah. And I don't know if they had turned the knobs too far or what, but like you couldn't turn it down. And so I actually did that on the show. I got a piece of square tube out of the junk bin, and used that as a muffle. It really controls your heat in good ways. It makes it more even, less hot spots, less oxidation. It's a great tip.
Yeah. On that 8670 I was using, I was able to dial it in at 15, whatever it was, around 1500 degrees, and just leave it there. And once I dialed it in and left it there, I sat and let it soak for 10 minutes without having to do anything except wait for the 10 minutes to expire. So yeah, it certainly was a nice tip. Speaking of tips, I think it's time. Jason, you got a tip for us?
I think I do.
We'll be right back.
Jason Fry here with another tip from my book, Knife Making Hacks. This is tip number 326 and 327. When using mosaic pins that have a pattern with a direction or with geometric points, make sure that the pins are clocked the same. Have your stars all oriented in the same direction, not out of rotation with each other. Details matter. All right, one of the first things you'll notice about a knife with mosaic pins is if one of those pins is in crooked, different to the other one. Okay, they've got to be the same It's a tiny little detail. It takes 2 seconds to fix. Please, please, for the love of everything sharp, please fix it. The next tip there is also about mosaic pins, why I put them together. So, upon seeing the price of mosaic pins, some makers decide to make their own to save money. They buy all kinds of little tubes and rods and cram them together and fill them with black epoxy and never get all the bubbles out. And by the time they're done, they've invested twice the labor cost as the mosaic pins cost in the first place. This tip is really about opportunity costs and the relative cost of time versus materials. So mosaic pins are expensive. I mean, they're sometimes I've seen $10, $20 an inch on fancy stuff. So it's tempting to want to go to Hobby Town or someplace and buy a bunch of rods and try to make something yourself. What I'm saying is that you will probably spend half of the cost on materials, and then you'll spend a few hours to get a subpar product, right? So your labor rate makes homemade mosaic pins more expensive than the ones that you would buy from a quality supplier like Pops or Jantz. If you want to make mosaic pins, cool, be a mosaic pin maker. I'm all for those guys. But if you want to be a knife maker, I would say spend your time and labor and skill development in making knives, because that will be your bigger payoff. There's my tip for this week from my book, Knife Making Hacks, available at my website, frycustomknives.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Jason, thank you for your continued tips. And if people want to buy your wonderful book, where can they find it again?
frycustomknives.com. If you want autograph copies. I mean, if you just want a boring copy like from Amazon, you could do that too. But
No.
But if you buy them from me,
Yeah.
I'll autograph them for you.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
it's so much better.
Yes, it is.
Yes, I loved it. He autographed mine, and it was Two Chip, my favorite little almost good knife maker. And then he put in parentheses, spend 10 more minutes on your knives. And it meant the world to me because it's made me a better knife maker. And that's a tip right there. Spend 10 more minutes on your knives. Guys, we were going to talk tonight about one of the most common knives that are out there. And I'll let it tee up because I'll tee it up because Otis here brought this up last time about one of the knives we want to talk about, and that was just the go-to EDC type knife, that camp knife, that hiking knife, that I'm not going to say a backpacking knife because backpacking knives are typically, if you can get away with a 1-inch blade on a box cutter, that's the perfect knife for backpacking, just lightweight and everything. But we're talking about the guys that hit the field, whether they're hunting, hiking, camping for the weekend, or this, that, and the other. We wanted to open that up. What are we looking for in design, whether it's steel, shape, handle, length, or this, that, and the other? And Jason, don't hesitate to open up. I know you've got a good deal going on with the company that's producing your knives right now. You can get us started there if you like.
Okay, yeah. So I grew up where most of my hunting was at ranches that had ranch houses or trailer houses anyway. And then I grew up where most of my camping was at state parks, where in Texas they frown at you if you're cutting trees and things because that's a state park, right? So for me, like a hunting or a camping knife is the knife that you can carry and a knife that you can use. It's not a big wood chopping thing, or it's not a big it's not big. So when I designed my hunter or utility hunter that White River is making for me now, it's only 8 inches long and it's got about a 3-inch cutting edge on a 3 1/4 inch blade, and it's big enough to do everything I need. Now,
What was the name of that again?
it's called the White River Utility Hunter.
Right. Okay.
I sell them on my site, DLT Trading, Blade HQ. They're around. We're working on getting them in some more places, even along with some of White River's other line. But again, for me, coming from Central Texas, where hunting was small properties and camping was regulated parks, my camping or everyday carry knife is really pretty small. Like I say, just about 8-inch knife is plenty for me. And again, because I was camping in at established places, I mean, I didn't need to start a fire without a lighter or matches.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
some people would argue, and I think they're not wrong, that a camping knife or a bushcraft knife ought to be carbon steel, so it'll throw a spark on a ferro rod so that you can start a fire. Okay, cool, yeah. That didn't match my experience, but I see where they're coming from.
Can we say that I volunteered as a wilderness ranger, and the number of people you walk up on the trail trying to start a fire late in the afternoon with a ferro rod, and it's like, would you like to use my Bic? And it's just all about that experience. And my real feeling is guys, instead of out here trying to spark up fires with your ferro rod, if you don't have a Bic, if you're going to try and do it old school, just go out and get some stick and a fireboard and and try and really friction one up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So again, from my experience, just using size. Now, I would say on mine that the handle to blade ratio is important,
Yes.
right? So how much blade do you need? Chip had a good story a second ago about really a box cutter will do most of what you need. Well, how much of a box cutter is blade and how much is handle? Right, it's all handle because the handle is
Yeah.
the control, the handle's the leverage, the handle uh, does everything but the cut, uh, but it's really important. So on my particular one that I like, the handle's a little longer. I mean, if you ever tried to skin a deer with a pocket knife, like an old, uh, Buck Stockman or
Yeah.
34 OT or something, the blade's fine. The handle's too small,
Yep.
right?
Sure is.
So
Yeah, it's funny you say that because my wife holds every one of my knives as I cut them out, and she grabs them and she holds them, and I guess she's my QA manager because
good,
she
good.
lets me know real quick if the handle's too small, and we've had a lot of fights over that because I've already cut it out, but I think that ratio is extremely important. Realistically, I think if you're going to take a 7, 8 inch knife, I think that it ought to be 3 inches of blade and 4 inches of handle is usually a pretty good ratio.
Mm-hmm.
8 inch knife, 3.5 inch
I
blade, four
will.
and a half
Let
inch
me.
handle.
Y'all
Go
know
ahead.
I like to argue both sides of everything. It's a blessing and a curse, right? Um, so I would say I've heard before that the best survival knife is the one you have with you when you get stuck in a bad situation. Right?
That's true.
Yep.
So, you may
Yes.
make all these plans and you may end up being the guy beside the trail that's trying to make something that's a bad idea. But really,
Right.
when it gets sideways, you'll make
Yeah.
do. I've heard of guys skinning deer with nothing but a broadhead because they forgot their actual knife, or
Yeah.
the guy that poor guy cut his arm off with a Leatherman tool
Oh yeah, the
because he
guy
was
that.
stuck in the rocks in
Yeah, yeah,
Arizona,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, I
yeah.
mean, when it really, really comes down to it, the one that you have with you is going to make or break your day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't see a lot of bushcrafters out there. There's a lot of movement about the crafter, and they've really pushed and marketed that quite well. And whether it's Joe Robinet and a lot of the other guys out there, because I do follow those guys, I enjoy what they're capable of doing. But your typical guy in the woods, survivalist bushcrafter, I think it's more, to me, it's a fad. It's nice to have they've got knives that'll gut their fish, chop down their trees, fix their dinner, and start a car. But the thing is, really, all that's not needed. It comes down to a lot more than just a giant knife that'll do those things. Batoning wood to me is totally useless. Take a little axe with you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I had a friend of mine call me, want me to make him a knife here a few months ago, and he goes, "Hey, can you make me one that's got sawtooth on the spine?" I went, "No." He goes, "Why not?" I said, "If you want a saw, go buy one." And he laughed, and he's gonna end up buying a knife from me. But I know the bushcraft is really popular in England.
Yes.
England is very
Mm-hmm.
popular over there bushcrafting, and but over here, I'm sure it is here too. It's not in that. But I like Jason's answer, man. Whatever you need at the time, if you got it, make it work, man.
Well,
So,
Harbor Freight's got that survival knife, don't they?
They do.
Do they?
You know, and
Well,
if your
I
choice
took
was that or a stick, I would choose the knife
I'll take a
every
knife.
time.
Yep. Amen.
Oh yeah, yeah. I most definitely will. As a matter of fact, I'm looking that knife up now to see what it runs now. But
$5.
is that what it is? Outdoors
About
55,
that.
I think, did a review on that particular knife. But anyway,
Don, you,
anyway,
you mentioned overseas. I've got a friend in Ireland that's a knife maker,
Mhm.
and again, he's like us. His job is kind of to make something the customer wants,
Yeah.
but I'm not intentionally not calling his name because he totally rips on those bushcraft people over there because they buy a fancy knife to walk 100 meters into the woods. you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and our even here in America, the odds of getting truly lost are pretty slim.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, of course, there's scenarios, right? We can all imagine how it's going to hit the fan, but the reality is we drive in our car and then we walk off somewhere and camp,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
it's
Exactly
funny
right.
you say that because when I go to Blade Show versus you can put me in the forest anywhere in the United States, I'll find my way to a city. I'll find my way to a place
Mhm.
to get rescued. I have never been lost in the forest, and I know navigation and all. Every time I go to Blade Show and I have to park somewhere except right down there, I end up walking around in circles forever. Otis
Yeah,
here knows that. I
yeah.
was
I was
2 hours
gonna say
late.
I don't know about that. I mean, the first time I saw you when we met, I mean, you kind of got lost in the parking lot. So I don't know.
You take me to the city, you put me on a 1 mile or a 1 square city block, and I'll get lost. It's just the way it works. But just so you know, the Harbor Freight knife does come with matches and a
Oh.
compass in the handle, so you're good to go there. Um, you made a good point, Jason, as far as length and all. As far as material though, I don't think stainless or high carbon matters to the individual user. A lot of people would opt for stainless for what they consider corrosion resistance, even though stainless can rust. But I particularly would prefer a high carbon steel knife just because it's going to hold an edge much better than the stainless. Am I
Well, for
correct?
me, it depends. It depends. So the old stainless used to be pretty crappy, but
Yeah,
honestly, in the last 60 years, stainless can be just as good as carbon steels, and many of the new
gotcha.
modern stainlesses are a lot more abrasion resistant, so they'll hold an edge a lot better. The
Hmm.
trade off, though, is that they're harder to sharpen, right? Because
Yep.
what is knife
Hmm.
sharpening? It's intentionally running it against an abrasive to make an edge. So
Yeah.
abrasion resistance is a double edged sword. So for a guy like
Well,
me who drives someplace and I'll go out and hunt a deer and skin it and then go back to the house, I don't care about sharpenability because I can sharpen anywhere. For
mhm,
somebody that's going to go backpack for 2 weeks,
Hmm.
I would not recommend S35V in stainless or something because it's going to be hard to sharpen, and you're going to
gotcha.
be out there doing things away from sharpening tools. So
Yeah.
again, there's no right answer to me. It's really about what suits what you're doing. Um, a good classic carbon steel knife at 60 or 59 Rockwell is going to be it's going to be sharpenable in the field on any old stone or the bottom of your
Hmm.
coffee cup or whatever. And
Yep.
so,
Yeah.
if you're stuck and you can't go back to the house or you didn't bring a stone with you, then yeah, that's better. That's better.
Well, if you don't want to deal with abrasion resistance, I will tell you, you guys need to go out and find Phoenix Abrasives at phoenixabrasives.com because they make some of the finest belts and abrasive materials out there. As a matter of fact, if you go to Phoenix Abrasives and place your order, you can also find them on Spaces by Wix and order directly from the app. If you put in Templars 10 at checkout, you'll get a 10% discount, and they're going to have everything you're looking for in the way of abrasives. Um, but if we get into backpacking, most of the guys that are day hikers and that and the other carry their knives for show. I think people that are more out camping, out beyond the I'm walking in the woods for the day or I'm going in the woods for a couple days. I would say the perfect knife is, like Jason said, is going to be the one you've got in your pocket. But if I had to pick a knife, there's lots of great handmade knives out there, a lot of good custom knives out there. But I would personally opt for something like Jason mentioned, that 5859 Rockwell hardness and a high carbon steel. If you're concerned about it, you probably ought to go with certainly a stabilized handle. I think if you're going with a natural wood handle, you're going to suffer the consequences of humidity and stuff over time, and any failures that could occur there. So, a good stabilized handle on a high carbon steel blade is going to be good. But we haven't talked about the grind. What do you guys perceive the best finished angle would be on that cutting edge? Lansky gives you what, 17, 25, and 30. Go ahead, Don.
That also depends on what you're going to do with that knife.
Right.
If it's a camp knife, a big knife, you can do a lot of chipping, chopping and stuff like that. It could be a 25, 30 degree. If it's on my EDCs, it also depends on the steel that you use and the heat treat. And once you know your steel, 8670 is my go-to. That's what I cut my teeth in making.
Where do you get your 8670 from, by the way?
Pop's Knife Supply.
And they're at popsknifesupply.com, right?
Yeah, you can just put in Pop's Knife Supply, it'll come up.
Well, I did want you to know that they're in the process of moving to their new location in Gainesville. Yeah. And additionally, Andy and Joey and Alan and Dirk Lutz, by the way, they work very hard to make sure you've got the best products out there. So they're in the process of getting moved right now, but they support our industry, our shows, hammer-ins, and all of the things so wonderfully. You guys go out there and look at the 8670, but look at the other items they've got in a very broad catalog. So getting back to that 8670 you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think you asked a question about what, how should you sharpen it? What degree? My EDC, well, Pop's 8670, I've tested it. I've took my EDC knives down to about 10 degrees on the final edge.
Did you really?
And wow. Well, I'm talking about. Let me see, 10 thousandths. I'm sorry, 10 thousandths on the finished.
I was going to say you were making scalpels. You were making scalpels.
And then I sharpened it at, I don't know, around 20. I keep them around 20 degrees, anywhere from 17 to 20 degrees on there. Reason why, because Pop's 8670 is so tough, it'll handle it.
Yes.
It'll handle that pretty good, because it's not a chopping knife. My choppers, I would go probably at 25 degree. Bring it down. I'd bring it up to maybe 20 thousandths to 25 thousandths on a chopper, and then cut a 25 degree second bevel on it and sharpen it. They'll do well too.
Yeah. I think if I was going to do a guy that said, "Hey, listen, I'm a bushcrafter. I'm going to hit 30 degrees, 30 degrees on that, just because what he's going to be doing with it." Anything else, I found that 25 just tends to be perfect. Sometimes it's 26, sometimes it's 24, because I'm using that Ameribraid sharpening attachment I've got. But I have found that tends to be the perfect degrees angle for a general use knife.
Well, I mean,
I used to sharpen with the Lansky back in the day when I was younger, and I preferred 20 degrees because, again, just goes back to my story. I was at a place where I could go skin a deer or maybe two and then go back to the house, right? And so for me, the finer edge just cut better. I didn't need it to hold a long time. I needed it to cut well while it cut. I want to point out what Don mentioned. Everybody gets stuck on what angle did you sharpen at, but an equally important variable is how thick was that edge before you started.
Exactly.
Right. So whether he's 10 thousandths behind the edge is very thin, 25 thousandths behind the edge is kind of thick. 35 thousandths behind the edge is really fat, right? But you'll see it. You'll see it if you know to look at that dimension. You'll see it on factory knives. You'll see it on custom knives. Um, and again, so many factors involved in that. I'm not going to come out and say which one's the best because it's going to depend on a lot of other variables like the heat treat of your steel and which steel you choose. But it's not all about what's that final angle on your sharpening jig. There are other factors that are relevant there.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And I would even say that, no matter what you what you use to sharpen it, just learn how to sharpen well, right? I mean, I think a lot of folks just don't get that that wire edge and strop it off and get it to that rate. So you can have a 17 or a 20, 28, but if you can just really work that edge down to that final burr, and then kind of just clean that off. I mean, it's going to be sharp. I mean, you're going to, I think most folks, they might even get it to 20 or 17. And I'm not saying most folks, but there's a lot of folks who don't practice sharpening that might think that they're getting a sharper edge because they have a 17-degree micro bevel on it. And it's just not the case because they don't know how to work it down. They haven't practiced, the art of sharpening.
Yeah, you got to get that burr off.
Point.
If you don't get the burr off, man, I don't care how you do it, man.
I would rather have a 30-degree angle with a good polished edge with no burr than
That's
a
right.
17 that wasn't right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever tried to sharpen a knife and you just couldn't seem to tune that knife into where it was perfect? I had one recently. It was a good knife. It just couldn't seem to. Eventually I got it there, but it just took forever.
Yeah.
I've had experience with some bad knives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the things every knife maker should do is go sharpen all the knives in your wife's kitchen.
Yep.
Just for practice, man.
Exactly.
Some of those are going to be like cheap dollar store knives.
Yeah.
But I've had a few just really cheap, sorry knives they don't take a burr properly.
They won't either.
And they won't strap off right. I mean, sometimes that steel's so soft it doesn't work at all.
Yeah. I know sharpening. I have a sharpener that I sharpen because I started selling knives and giving knives away. I've had so many people ask me, "Hey, man, you sharpen knives?" So I started sharpening people's knives, and come to find out, a lot of these knives these people buy, the companies in stainless steel, your Hinkles, stuff like that, they come in about a 56 Rotwell, 57, something like that. Why? Because people chip them. They don't know how to use the knife. Mary Homemaker or Joe Daddy, he gets in there, he don't know how to use a knife, so he ends up breaking the edges and pops the tips. But I have sharpened quite a few people's knives now, and you have some brands you cannot get a burr to come up.
Do you like it when people come over and say, "Will you sharpen my knife?"
Yeah, I like that.
You're a good man. People try to put knives in my hands all the time and want me to take them home and sharpen them, and I'm just like,
Well, I charge them.
I don't mind at all. I want to be able to ask a nurse, like, is this a good way to bandage this? Or I want to be able to ask a doctor, like, is this a good way to treat this disease I've got, or whatever, right? I mean, asking a knife maker to sharpen a knife is, I'll help those guys every time. Now, again, sometimes I'll charge them if they bring me a whole stack or something, or if they bring me something really weird. But I'm happy to share what little skills I have.
Do you mind if I give people your name that ask me?
Sure. You wouldn't be the first guy to do that.
So, Mark, have you been up north? I know that you went up to Colorado. Did you make it out to to Canada while you were there?
On the way home, I swung by and waved to those folks up at Maritime Knife Supply.
MaritimeKnifeSupply.com, you say?
.com.
All right. So
.ca.
Yes. I think you get their .com also. That's good that you point that out for our Canadian listeners. But also, did you know that you can get what is that other grinder brand that I don't own?
I don't know I know you own a Ameribraid, but
I own an Ameribraid, but what is it? Oh, the Broadbeck. The Broadbeck,
yes.
Broadbeck, another fine grinder out there, and
it is.
They carry Broadbeck in all of their supplies. They carry handle materials, steel, fasteners, glues, this, that, and the other. And they ship both sides of the border and likely international too. I'm not sure about that, but go out and check out at maritimeknifesupply.com or .ca and see what they have to offer today. I know that they do a lot of volunteering and working in the knife making community, and we want to make sure we support them because without our vendors, guys, we're all cutting the sides out of body panels on cars trying to make knives, and that's just not going to be any fun.
That's right.
We don't want to be buying our knife supplies from Lowe's. It's not gonna work. But you also mentioned Ameribraid, and Ameribraid.com. Kevin and Eric over there provide and designed Visionaries, one heck of a great grinder. So if you're looking for a grinder, they have several entry points. You can get the 2x40, 2x48, I believe.
Oh, they're Trident or
Yeah,
they're
I think it's 2x48 is an
Mhm.
entry level machine, or you can step right up into a full Ameribade grinder, and they've got 3 price packages there,
Exactly.
depending on the accessories and the things that you want. So go out and check out Ameribraid.com, and if you don't know, when you call their number, you're going to get Eric or Kevin on the phone, and that's one heck of a great customer service right there. So
Yes.
Ameribraid.com. Yes, Otis here.
Just a quick addendum, maybe on the bushcrafter knives and stuff. If you're looking to do the fire striker, the ferro rod,
Yeah.
it doesn't really have to be a high carbon. High carbon is better, but a good quality stainless steel blade with a sharp 90-degree angle spine will throw some good sparks also,
Okay.
right?
Gotcha.
So
Very good.
I have this particular knife. It is out of S30V.
Oh, that's the Harbor Freight one.
Yes, yes. I put a very, very sharp 90-degree spine on it, and it throws spark like mad. Okay, you
Oh,
can
yeah.
see on the spine there where I've been scraping my ferro rod,
Sure.
Right.
and it just throw a lot of it.
Well, just so you
So
know, I was
having a good knife on you always is a good thing. If you know, if
Now,
you go
Pinto, is that
camping,
your
if you
blade?
go walking around in the woods and you happen to just, oh, I lost the trail, gotta spend the night, right? A bic is better,
Yep.
but if you happen to have a ferro rod on you, it'll work too.
well.
You
I don't
know,
want to sound like I was poo pooing on ferro rods. I actually do have ferro rod. I
I
guess it's a
actually have one on my pack. I
yeah
carry every day. I have one on my photography backpack. I carry also when I go out in the woods and stuff. I mean, you never know.
yeah.
I also
Well,
carry a beak on my pocket all the time. So, right,
how big is your bic?
regular cigarette lighter,
Oh,
kind of.
okay. Same as ours.
All I need is one
Um,
fire for one night. I'm not planning to spend more than one night in there. So,
well, I'm glad you've got a normal size bic. The interesting thing is, like I said, I carry ferro rods as well, just in case, and I keep a
it's
thin one on it.
fun. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun to play with that thing.
It's
I
more
was in a
fun.
trail. I
It's
was sitting on a trail one time playing with it and trying to light a fire, and I didn't notice. And next thing I know, there's this old beardo walking up to me, and he's looking at me like, "What the hell is this guy doing on the
well,
trail?"
I actually can do primitive fire, so you ought to try that sometime. It's not that difficult. You just got to have the right tools, and just a little bit of know how. But it's not difficult to make fire in many different ways. So yeah,
Have
ferro
you
rod's a good
all
one.
watched that show Alone?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
No,
One of my top shows.
That is mine,
Right?
too.
It's an amazing show. I like it a lot. I was
Excuse me,
watching
excuse me,
the
excuse me. We need a little thing that cuts in here when you say that. It goes, I like it a lot. Because
oh yeah,
that's your new nickname is Odysseer. I like it a lot. I guess because you
oh
say
yeah.
that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
Thought
was
he was the
watching
Indian
this.
guy this week.
He's Avatar. I like it a lot. I
Oh
like it a lot.
Lord.
No, 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 no. Is
Anyway,
the Australian version. And this lady, she was trying to make a fire, and it was raining quite a
Yep.
lot. She worn down her ferro
Yeah.
rod to nothing. You
Hmm.
see that,
Yep.
man? I mean, comes to a point. Just stop. Accept that you're not gonna have a fire for the night.
No.
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the guy
Douglas
that
Wow,
Leslie,
lost
I
interesting.
his.
guess you get to see that, huh?
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I haven't watched that show.
That's a
Maybe I
good
need
show,
to
man.
check that
That's
out.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, as we're winding down here, I just want to make sure I get everybody in. You sell over at TR Maker, tr-maker.com. I tell you what, those guys are so innovative in the things they're doing, whether you want small wheel attachments, centering guides for putting center lines on your blades, you want carbide file guides, and a plethora of other things, including grinders. They're coming out of Turkey, and they have some great engineering. Turkish engineering is a lot what Germany was back at the 100 years ago. But you need to check out what Usel and his team is doing over there at tr-maker.com. And you're going to see some reviews on their products coming up soon. So, guys, go out and visit TR Maker and invest wisely today. Good company. So, there you go. Otis here.
Yes.
What you got going on this week? You finished up a knife, so you must undoubtedly be starting on another piece of spring steel.
Uh, Maybe I gotta make a sheet for it. Gotta go buy me some leather sewing thread tomorrow.
Where are you going to
I
get that?
also, uh, not sure. There's a couple of stores around. I might
Are
go
they?
to Tandy. I might go to Hobby Works or something. They have a lot of this little miscellaneous supplies.
I tend to
I
go to Hobby
also,
Lobby, so you're fortunate to have a Tandy leather in your area. Then that's great.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's about half-hour drive from me.
Oh, good deal.
Also need
Nice.
a handle for the little tomahawk.
Yes,
Mm.
Gotta, can't have a handle breaking on me every time I hit something or somebody.
I've got a lot
Exactly.
of leftover balsa from my fishing lure days. You want some balsa logs? I
Yeah,
actually have balsa logs.
I,
Very, very lightweight. Very,
Yep.
very lightweight handle.
Hey,
yeah,
Otis, real quick on your tomahawk.
yes.
So did you go and harden that like afterwards? I mean, like
Yes.
what did you have to buy? I mean, was it a Harbor Freight hammer or was it a?
I bought the cheapest ball peen I could find. I think I paid like $5 at
Mm,
Harbor
Tell us,
Freight.
tell us, yeah, tell us about
So I
making that.
don't
Yeah,
know how much hardness I can expect it from there. So it was an experiment. So I'm not gonna put a lot of money
go ahead and
in
tell us a little
there.
bit about making that though, because I don't think we covered that so much in this show. So you've made a ball peen hammer into
So
a
I went
hatchet.
I went to Harbor Freight. I bought this 5 ounce ball peen with the intention of making a little tomahawk. I've seen some people make it before. Uh, so okay, let me try. And started with the peen on it, and went to make a spike. Left it very fat, just because I don't know how hard I'm gonna get it. I think I got somewhere between 55 HRC after I hardened it, so it's
oh, that's not
acceptable.
too bad.
Not
Yeah,
bad.
it's
No,
not
not at
too
all.
bad. Um,
Are you going to post a picture of that on lazyknifemaker.com?
yes, I will.
Good,
I will
good.
absolutely.
Or the Rivers Experience.
Yes, that too. Actually, it's already there, a preview of when I was forging it, and then kind of the final results before I broke the handle. So yeah, it's already there,
Yeah,
Mister
Jason.
Fry.
Yeah, I've done 6 or 8 ball peen tomahawks. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I've done a few.
You did one a
And
couple weeks ago, didn't you?
I did one at the
You
demo
got a
like 2
lot
weeks
more
ago.
on me, so please
Well,
do
yeah, but
share everything you can.
I don't know much, but
'Cause I'll be
happy
making
to,
more.
happy
I
to share what
promise.
little I figured out. So one thing I figured out was I had a set of tongs that held the peen or the ball very well. It was a kind of a V jaw tong that held that ball real well. And if you forge the spike first, it's just a taper, and it's hard to hold with the tongs. So for me, anyway, I had a set of tongs that would hold the ball side very well. So I forged the blade first, and then I had a set of bladesmithing tongs that would hold a blade. Right.
That's
So then I
good.
switched it
That's good.
around. So
Hmm.
for me, again, it's going to come down to what tongs do you have. There's no right way. But for me, I had better luck forging the blade first and then the spike because of the way the spike was tapered and the kinds of tongs I had.
Yeah, the tongs that I have, I couldn't hold the hammer section,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I had to go.
Did you
Well,
drift the eye out some more, or did you just use the eye as it was?
I just used the eye as it was
Okay.
because I intended to use the original handle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if I started monkeying around with the eye, it would have made it a little.
Right. So, just for the listeners, there are a couple of different tomahawk eye shapes. Right. So there's kind of a teardrop traditional. Like if you Google tomahawk eye drift, it'll come
Mm-hmm.
up with this teardrop shaped thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of us that make them out of ball peen hammers, I mean, it's a hammer.
Yep.
I make them to fit a hammer handle, and I usually will
Yep.
modify the handle a little bit, just so it looks more tomahawky and less hammery. Um, but I'll drift the eyes out a little big. Sometimes on a ball peen, the eye will be very small because those are precision hammers. They're not big, heavy whacking hammers, right? They're not about strength; they're
Now,
about precision. So I built a little drift, and I'll drift them out square, but larger, uh, to fit a regular hammer handle. That's just
my
me.
my main question at this very moment is: should I get like a better quality hammer instead of the $5 Harbor Freight special?
I would go out and order a two bastards hammer and go ahead and beat it down.
And then hammer it out. No, 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 no. There's a happy medium there somewhere. So I traded a guy literally a 5 gallon bucket, about half full of hammers and hammer handles. But his dad was oil filled, and so they were just industrial level. Uh, and when you break a hammer handle, a whole new hammer is as much as a new handle, right? So they would just buy new ones. Um, so again, I think in some ways you're better off buying good stuff. In other ways, you're really only shooting for mid 50s anyway, because you're planning on pounding it against things that it ought not be pounded against. Right? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's a right answer there. I mean, if you're going to
Yeah,
throw it at a
I
tree, who
mean,
cares if it's 62 Rockwell, right? It's going to
yeah,
chip
just
anyway.
I was thinking maybe in the near future, making one out of one of them axles that I have, and I know
Mm-hmm.
those axles are really good quality steel. I don't know how hard can I get it, but again,
Yeah,
I'm not
and
looking to make a razor. I need something that is going to go through and split some wood and open up a coconut with the spike or something,
and
right?
when it comes to durability, I mean, if you're at 55 Rockwell and you barely temper it back on a cheap hammer, or 48 Rockwell, that's different than a piece of high carbon steel. You'll want to temper that back more, right? Like I may take a 5160 knife up to 60 Rockwell, but I'd take a 5160 hatchet down to 55, right? You temper it a little higher. Uh, and again, it's totally trial and error. It's totally what do you have to start with. Um, something where I'm like a Harbor Freight hammer, where I'm worried about max hardness. I'll temper it pretty low, like 300, 350. But something that I knew what it was, I might go up to 500, 550. You'll end up at the same end hardness. But anyway, read Larry Thomas's book if you really care. Knife engineering. He knows much more than me if you want to dig off into various tempering and hardening sciences. But anyway.
And there you have it. There you have
Yeah,
it.
well,
The neat thing is, go out and grab a piece of steel and hammer it into something, and every time you hammer something, you get better and better at it, and that's the important part.
And have a good time, dadgummit. Have
Oh
a
yeah,
good time. That's
heck
what it's
yeah.
really about.
And Otis here, we could tell you had a good time, and you produced a beautiful piece of steel.
I
Then we will call it a
I
success.
can tell you this from just this past week and a half. I am pretty happy with the results that I've been able to achieve with just the forge hammer and anvil, pounding steel. It was really nice. I cannot emphasize enough how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So are you thinking about upgrading any anvils or forges or anything? You happy with what you got? The anvil and forge you got is doing a great job. I was just curious on your
Yeah,
thoughts.
for the moment, I'll just keep it as it is. Maybe in the future, I'm planning a couple of things, and God willing, it will come my way. And
Yeah. Well,
and
I will tell
when
you,
that happens, then I'll upgrade a whole lot of things.
if you consider a forge, you need to look at that Apollo forge.
Yeah,
It's something else.
that
I've
would be
seen them.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would.
they're great machines. So, well, guys, with all that being said, we've kind of run out of time here. So, with that being, anybody seen the monkey?
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
There he is.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hey, here's your favorite part, Otis. Are you ready?
Yes.
Brought to you by Porkhouse Productions. Oinky, oinky, oinky.
We saw how excited you got about the oinky 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 last time. So post show, let's bring it on home. We'll get on into our houses and enjoy the weekend. What you got coming up, guys?
So first thing, right? My deepest apologies if I offended somebody with my opening rant. It's
No,
just
you got it. You got to have.
I get passionate about some things, and I have the way that I see things. So if I stepped on somebody's toes, please forgive me. It wasn't my intention, but those are my thoughts on the matter. Other than
Let me
that, we're good.
let me say this: you're
Say
entitled to
this.
you're entitled to your opinion. That's the beauty of what we have in this world today, and people need to be have the ability to speak their mind for what they wish. You didn't say anything bad, but you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to say that if people have any questions, comments, product reviews, show or
Oh,
guest ideas, subscribe and email us at the knives templars at yahoo.com or DM us at Facebook at the Knives Templars podcast group, and you can visit us at the knivestemplars.com to stay up to date. Our episode is provided by The Rivers Experience, housemade.us, knife-wood.com, Ameribraid, Majestic Forge, Byford's Gun and Pawn, Pop's Knife Supplies, Maritime Knife Supply, Phoenix Abrasives with their Templar 10 discount. You can also hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Anchor, Amazon, and much more. And I would like to say this week we came in number one on the search engines that I was going through, and that's exciting.
Oh,
You'll go
good
out and
deal.
find us at
yeah.
knivestemplars.com at number one. So as far as I'm concerned, we're number one because we came out number one there.
How many
Hey,
countries?
Number one,
How
I
many
like it.
countries?
37.
Oh, yeah.
37 countries.
All right.
Yes. I've got women in Kazakhstan asking me if Otis here knows how to push a plow and has he ever milked a goat, and they want some
I've
posters.
milked a cow. I've milked a cow. Yes.
They're just wanting an Otis here poster for the barn in Kazakhstan. So,
Hey, man.
yeah,
We can make that happen.
you've got admirers out there, my friend, and they actually I think they've seen the Otis here forging nude in the park under the moonlight
okay,
photo that I
okay.
created. So it was tastefully done, but I think that got them a little excited.
Got the message, huh?
Oh yeah.
Odysseus he is a bald Antonio Banderas. He's a sexy man. Sexy man. Mark, what's going on besides hair growth on your face, there, buddy?
That's right.
What do
Yeah.
you got? What do you got going on the next couple of weeks?
Well, since I've almost been out of pocket for like almost a month, and so between the some vacation and then the conference that I was at, so I was this weekend. I'm finally catching up. This week I got I got those 4 knives, heat treated and tempered back. So
Good deal.
And really, it's kind of the experiment, right? Because each knife I did a little bit of. I tried a different grind on, even though the goal was going to be more consistent with my grinds. I wanted to try a couple things, so I tried one grind doing that like the table drag kind of method with the push stick, and then I did one with a free hand, and then I have 2 that I just knocked the bevels off before I heat treated them, or knock the edges off.
Right.
And then I'm going to post heat treat grind those. So I'm going to get those all finished ground this weekend, and try to get them, at least sanded up, and start going from there. I got to get these 4 that have been sitting here for done by maybe next week.
Well, the question we all want to know is, do you still identify as a knife maker after being in California?
I do, but I did not wear my shirt, my pronoun shirt. I felt like that might
offend some people over there.
Might stir somebody up.
It might.
As long as you're still a knife maker and not,
Yes.
whatever.
That's right. No, I'm still making knives.
A lug nut. So
that's right.
The next question is: Are you going to get that oven, or are you going to stay on the forge?
What's that?
Are you going to get that oven, or are you going to stay on the forge?
Oh yeah. Well, so I just don't have a room for a forge, right? Like I have my 2 brick forge that I kind of slide, under my workbench, and then I put the bricks together every time I'm going to do it. Even though sliding that piece of plate metal in there, and if anybody watched Eric's live broadcast, he was kind of talking about his forge and baffling, putting some stock in there to like we were talking earlier in the episode today. But yeah, that helped a lot to be a lot more consistent. Just with that, that 2 brick forge gets hot, right? Because it's a single burner, the same size as anything else, and it's like a blowtorch directly on that blade. Yeah. So,
and if you add 6 more bricks, you'll have an 8 brick forge.
That's right. Yeah. But so I think again, I'm working on trying to get my ceiling fixed from a roof leak that I had a year ago and had an insurance claim on. So, but at the same time, I'm trying to find that electrician to get 220 in my garage. So I like Odysseus' idea about just buy the oven, and then I'll be forced to put 220 in my garage because it'll be just sitting there. It'll be just sitting there staring at me.
Well, you can figure out you can run that 220 if you just watch a couple YouTube videos.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was going to just stick it in my laundry room and plug it into my dryer outlet.
There you go. Why not just add some additional coils to your dryer and dry clothes fast, plus be able to forge out of it?
That's right.
I actually traded my first 220 circuit for a knife, so I mean, there's always that.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Don, what do you got? What do you got going on in the great state of Florida?
Oh man, I got to build a sheet for this weird looking blade.
Nesmuk.
Yeah.
I like Mike Nesmuk. Didn't he play for the Monkees?
He did. He sure did.
Yeah, that thing is going to be a monster skinner. I can tell you right now.
Beautiful knife.
I don't know. Have y'all built Kydex sheaths? I know a lot of y'all do leather, but have y'all?
Negatory Ghost Rider.
I did for a smaller version of that. Yes.
Well, you see this right here. You see the curve on the top right here.
Yes, you're gonna have
that's
to
the problem. You got to fill that in.
You're gonna have to build some material. Yes.
And you got to build that in too.
Yes.
Or it will not work.
Just send it to me, and I'll sew you up a sheath.
So on the spine, more than the belly, you're gonna have to build that thing so it's kind of a straight line.
Yeah, that way it's
from that hump all the way to the
down to here. Yep. So yeah, that's this thing. I'm gonna do that. I got 2 Tontos sold. I got I gotta get
Nice.
handles on them Tontos y'all seen last time.
Yeah,
How they come
beautiful,
out, by the
beautiful.
way?
Do you do any leather work, Don? Because
No,
if you don't, you need to get into it because you master everything you do.
Talking about leather, did you see that the sheath I made for the cookery?
It's beautiful.
I did.
nice,
It was
real
really
nice,
nice.
real nice, man.
Yeah,
Very
that was something else. I had to copy and paste some information from Mr. Eric's
Yeah, you had
cookery.
to think about that sheath. It wasn't just folding a piece of leather over and sewing it up.
No,
It looked like
no,
you
no.
you put some thought into it.
Yes, about 2 seconds of. I
Not
don't think
only
about stuff too much, man. I
All
just do
right.
things.
not only does he like it a lot, he's a smart man with the leather.
So,
So
Mr. Don, yeah, I mean that for that Nesmuk right there, you're
Mhm.
gonna have to build a little bridge inside the
That's right.
sheath or
That's right.
something. Yeah.
I've done like the other ones that had this right here, the skinning knives, the old sharp finger years
Yeah,
ago,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
the
Same
sharp
thing.
finger had that trailer or that clip point or that trailing edge, whatever you call it, trailing point. And I remember the first sheep I did, I couldn't get it back in there. And I said, "What in the world?" I said, "What is wrong with this thing?" And then I learned, hey, you got to build it out because that thing's like this. I mean, it's kind of like
Well, and with leather, you got to be careful not to stick that tip back
That's
exactly.
through
right.
the
That's the
spinal
same.
yes,
sheath.
yes.
Yeah, that's
I've done that early in the morning when I'm trying to mail one out that day.
Yeah.
Oh,
You get to remake that one.
Oh my, oh my. Jason, what you got going on? Anything? I know you're you're going to be beating steel again this weekend.
Yeah, I got the demo tomorrow, which will be before the podcast comes out. I'm getting close. I mean, I'm kind of again doing logistics, fixing my lights and ordering steel, and
Well, good.
I think the heat is supposed to break next week. I think it's supposed to be like 75 instead of
Oh, wow.
102.
Have you been able to process my knife guild application yet?
Yeah, I'm still working on that.
mhm.
All right.
But yeah, so again, I'm in a stage of kind of gearing up. I'm crouching to jump, but I'm not jumping yet. Kind of deal. So,
what's the likelihood of getting it approved this time, Jason?
Look at that. I seen that doubt cross his face.
All right,
I'm going to say about as good as Congress passing a meaningful law. We didn't go.
All right.
there,
Well,
but,
let's just
but
let's
I'll
just
put it
stop
that,
right there.
that
At
odds.
least you know I'm working towards it. I know I'm working towards it.
You'll get
so.
there. You'll get there.
So, yeah, I'm fortunate enough to be traveling to the great state of Texas here in a couple weeks. I always loved Texas. I got to start going back to Texas with a new job opportunity. And when I went to Waco in Palestine, I was like, this is why I love Texas. It's a gorgeous state. And I'll be in Mississippi, Georgia, and North Carolina, which I've spent some time. I've been getting really heavily into trout fishing again, and caught a nice brown a week or so ago. And
We saw that.
It's a good
it was a
looking
gorgeous
fish.
Congratulations,
fish.
by the
Yeah.
way.
So thank you. So
Was it
yeah, I'm
delicious?
enjoying. I didn't eat it. I would have, but I was staying in a hotel. And a fish that big, I don't know if I probably would have put him back just to continue to spawn. But that's a catch and keep river. I have to take that back. Those fish don't typically spawn, so I probably would have kept him and ate him. But typically, I'll eat the smaller ones over the bigger ones, and certainly in self-sustaining waters. I was the same way with bass as well. So. I'm not some big tree hugger, trout lover kind of guy. I'll eat those little suckers in a heartbeat. Love to smoke them. But anyway, we have completed another episode, and I invite you guys back to the season 5 celebration next episode because we will be kicking off the new TR Maker and the Pops Knife Supply Maker's Mark series. We'll be doing video interviews. It'll be on YouTube. We may have some of them on the podcast as well. And additionally, you will see them on our website at the knife templars.com. So I'm looking forward to that. So people have the opportunity not only to talk about their knives, to show their knives, their shops, and their beautiful beards there. Mark VMAX Tone Loke Vasallo. There we go. So people will get to interact with the video as well. So that's where we are. So with all that being said, Otis here, I'm going to give you one more. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Sit back, hold on to the seat, because here it comes.
Brought to you by Porkhouse Productions. Oinky, oinky, oinky.
And notice here says, oinky, oinky, oinky.
Oinky, oinky, oinky.
All right, guys. So what time is it? What do we say at the end of these shows?
Goodbye. Have a great week.
Hey, have a great night.
And thank you guys for joining us on the Knives Templars. We are blessed to have you listening, and you make our community much brighter, much larger, much more talented. And we hope to see you on the next episode. If you're on a podcast provider, please go up and click that subscribe button, because it just makes us happy when you do. Every time somebody clicks subscribe, an angel gets its wings. Y'all have a good night. Bye now.